Global matcha prices are surging due to poor weather in Japan, rising global demand, labor shortages, and steep U.S. tariffs on imports from Japan and China. Experts warn that consumers should expect significant price hikes as supply struggles to keep up with the global matcha craze. To break down what's driving this sudden spike and what it means for consumers, we spoke with Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, a visiting scholar at McGill University and expert in global food economics.
Well, it's just popularity. I think there is a trend towards healthier drinks, and of course, most Canadians actually have the habit of stopping at a coffee shop, and they're starting to look for a few things like proteins, for example, and drinks that can actually make them feel better. Drinks that can actually take care of their health, and matcha has been branded as such, and so that's why demand for matcha is up in North America overall. The challenge with matcha is that it's still the production of matcha is still artisanal. It's not industrial at all in Japan, and so chains are actually having a hard time getting access to matcha, and it's a unique spice, so you can't really buy matcha outside of Japan, really, which may lead to some fraud. I mean, at some point, I think, I mean, with vanilla, that's exactly what happened many years ago. Vanilla is a very expensive spice, and to deal with vanilla shortages, essentially we started to see more artificial flavors related to vanilla. I suspect it's going to be the same, but you don't get the health value out of matcha if it's an artificial flavor.
Dr. Charlebois also discussed how U.S. tariffs on matcha imports from Japan and China are contributing to price increases.
Most suppliers for Canadian coffee shops, most suppliers would probably come from the US. So even though we've eliminated counter tariffs on September 1st, we're still likely to see more expensive matcha due to tariffs, American tariffs on Japanese imports, for example. That's exactly what we're seeing with coffee for Vietnam and Brazilian coffee going into to the United States before entering the Canadian market.
With global demand outpacing supply, manufacturers are now scrambling for solutions. We asked Dr. Charlebois how the industry is responding to this spike and whether new innovations or alternatives are on the horizon.
I'd say it's pretty minimal. So I mean, right now they're offering matcha, and of course we're in the middle of the pumpkin spice season until November, so that's probably going to be attracting a lot of people towards something else. But pumpkin spice is more about indulgence and nostalgia and scent. It's very different than matcha, and so matcha is probably more fitting when people are looking for health. And my guess is that matcha demand for matcha will likely go up in January, February when people start thinking about their health and the new year and everything else.
But how long will matcha lovers be paying more? Dr. Sylvain Charlebois weighed in on whether this pricing trend is a temporary disruption or a long term market shift.
It depends. It depends how things go in the United States. I mean, the United States is a huge hub for these commodities. So, and I mean, matcha prices. So when you go to a coffee shop, inputs are probably about 10 to 15% of the actual price of the cup. So if you pay $8 for a cup, you're basically looking at the coffee and the matcha represents about 10 to 15% of that price. So it's not huge. And what we're seeing with coffee prices, and even with counter tariffs actually made coffee more expensive in Canada. Chains actually they ate up that difference. And so will they continue to eat up price differences when it comes to inputs? My guess is probably they don't, because they do make good money serving you coffee. So My guess is that it will impact margins a little bit for chains, but I don't think it will impact menu prices at all.
And finally, with matcha becoming a case study in global food market volatility, we asked if other everyday staples might soon face similar price pressures.
We saw that in rice for a while, but that's been resolved actually. Prices have actually gone down. So that was policy inflicted essentially. But things are much better. Actually, when you look at rice prices right now, they're about 2% less than last year. So that's good. The thing about geopolitics these days is that it's impacting food temporarily. And because it creates a shock, and then the food chain basically adapts to this new geopolitical reality.